Hi, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to be covering two of the properties of our Flex container, direction and wrap. So right now we have everything set up. We have 5 Flex items here labeled A to E, and then we also have our container. But now we're going to go through and start manipulating it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Flex direction. So pretty much right now it's laid out in a row here, but what we can actually do is specify the direction that we want our items to go in. We can also reverse the order using a special suffix. Let's get started. So the property that we're going to use is Flex direction, Flex-direction, and you add this to the container, to the Flex container. So here we're going to specify either row or column. Row is the default value and it's going to be going in a direction to the right side of the container. But we also have column, which is what we kind of saw before. And you can see it's a little bit better spaced out. And you can see it goes A to E, except it goes in a column. Now that's pretty easy to understand, but we can also go reverse. So instead of A to E, it goes E to A. All we have to do is add dash reverse to column or row, and it's going to flip the direction that our item is going in. Let's refresh, and now you can see it's going in reverse. We can also do the same thing with row, or pretty much any other value for this property here. You can see now it goes E to A, and it also goes in the opposite way to the left side of the page instead of to the right side. So that's it for Flex direction. It's very easy to understand. I'm just going to go ahead and set it back to row, the default. The next item I want to talk about is Flex wrap. So this is a little bit more complicated to understand, but once we start using it, it gets quite easy. Pretty much when you wrap an item, it's going to move it to a new row or column to avoid exceeding the maximum length. So for example, if we had more than the specified amount of items here, so if we had A, B, C, D, E, and then F, G, H, I, and all the ways to K or L, we don't want it to keep going on forever. So what we want to do is once it gets to a certain length, wrap it around and move it to a new line. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that here. I'm going to go ahead and copy all of these items, pretty much double it, and then I'm going to say F, G, H, I, and J. And now let's go ahead and refresh the page and see how this looks. You can see we have now A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. And of course it's not going past the page yet, but we can actually wrap this around and see how that looks. So all we have to do is add the flex-wrap property. And now we can either specify one of two values, wrap and no wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and say wrap. Now if we go ahead and refresh the page, you can see that instead of kind of squeezing in the space or changing the spacing, it just moves this to a new row. We can also go ahead and use wrap reverse, which pretty much, it does the exact same thing, but it reverses the order. So now if we go ahead and refresh, you can see that this whole thing is kind of flipped. Now normally you won't see wrap reverse used, so I would just go ahead and learn how to use wrap and no wrap. Now, of course, if you're going to go ahead and use no wrap, it's usually because of some inherited value, because again, no wrap is the default value that's used, so you won't really see it commonly in CSS. Let's go ahead and set the property back to wrap. So those are the two main properties that we're going to cover in this video, is wrap and Flex direction. Now, of course, these are two very basic properties, but they're still very useful, and you can really see how this can be used commonly inside our website and inside web development as a whole. Alright, so that's pretty much it for these two properties. Let's move on to some of the other properties that we can use on our Flex container in CSS.